So I've been skateboarding the majority of my life, and there's one trick that I've been putting off learning forever because I'm really scared of it, and that is inverts. The reason that this trick is so scary is because you actually have to get upside down. You're putting your hand on the coping and you're getting inverted. So in this video series, I'm going to be learning the scariest skateboard trick that I've ever tried. Let's jump into it.
This is my first day that I started to attempt learning inverts. My goal today is getting used to the motion of planting my hand down and grabbing my board at the same time.
Session 1 of attempting inverts is actually pretty successful. I feel more confident about it than I feel when I was going into it. The one thing is my hand that I'm pushing off is really sore already after just trying a few. But a couple people mentioned to me what you really have to learn is try to learn it under coping first and get used to that motion of just bending down, grabbing your board and planting your hand onto the transition. So that was my goal today, to just get up and down the transition with having my hand on my board and on the ground. I got a little bit of air, definitely not feeling super confident that I'm inverted or anything like that, but I do feel like I might be able to actually learn this trick, and I've been putting it off for so long, so it's a good feeling. Day 2, trying inverts. I don't think there's been like a huge amount of progression. However, I do feel more comfortable with going up and grabbing my board, planting it, and actually lifting it off the coping. So lifting it off the lip of the transition does feel more comfortable. My hand is obviously super low. My goal is to get it onto the top of the coping and really get upside down. But I feel like I'm getting used to that hand plant motion. I'm just putting my hand down and really swinging my arms. That's what I really try to work on today, is like swing my arms from my left arm in, my right arm in as well. It's holding the camera. So you're kind of like crossing up your arms essentially as you're going up to do, you know, the grab and plant down onto the transition. My hand doesn't feel as sore today, so I feel like I'm planting it right as well. So not a huge amount of progression. However, I am getting more comfortable with it. So I am getting more comfortable going higher up on the transition. Yesterday I had a session with some friends and they gave me some good helpful advice. Tipping point that I'm kind of at in my progression right now is just getting controlled hand plants and scooping, snapping my tail up off the transition and kind of lifting it as I turn. I've got that down and I never knew how to do that before. I think that's been something that took me a while, just kind of getting used to that swinging motion. So now that I'm there, as I get higher, I'm realizing I don't have to snap my board off the transition. The board naturally just goes in the air as I grab it and plant my hand. So I just get more comfortable with it. Today, what my goal was to basically get my hand planted right where that white line is on the transition. I'm making like little markers so I can try to get higher up onto the transition, get myself more comfortable. And then eventually I gotta grab the coping. I don't know how we're gonna get to that place. That seems really scary and far away for me. So I've been trying to learn these inverts. It's almost been like 3 weeks now, to be honest, and I want to skate in between learning inverts, and that's like the hard part with me. I have a full-time job, gotta take care of a house, wife, things of that nature, so it's easy to come up with excuses and just go back to my regular routine, doing the tricks that I know how to do. But if I really want to learn this trick, it's something I really have to commit myself to. So here today, I'm gonna spend my lunch break trying to go get a good progression session in, spending at least 1 hour trying some inverts. So let's head over to the skate park. Definitely at that point where I just need to try to go for the coping, go a little bit higher up on the transition, but it's so scary. I just keep thinking about face planning all the worst possible case scenarios. So I'm here at the Poot skate park. This bowl isn't as big as the bowl that I've been trying to learn them on, so maybe with a little bit of a shorter transition it won't be as intimidating, but it is still steep, so I'll get that kind of board lift off motion. So I'm gonna try some in this bowl. I'm kind of intimidated because I'm getting so used to trying it at the wall at the skate park that I always go to. So I'm gonna try some here, and then hopefully I can end the session with just either going for a coping or getting close enough to where I'm just building up that confidence to really go for it and pull that trigger. Oh man, I feel like I really just want to go for the cup and get my hand on there and bail just to get that confidence. I feel like I'm at the in-between point where I really should just go for the coping, but I'm really scared and intimidated by it. I just don't want to slam. It's part of skating. So I'm gonna try to go for the coping and just bail, because that will be a good feeling, just like kind of making it to that point. So I guess at this point it's kind of like a Hail Mary. All right, well, I didn't grab the coping. I didn't get to where I really wanted to get in this like progression video. That was kind of my goal, to show you the process, but just for reference, this has been a month of trying inverts. This is a trick that I've been wanting to do my entire life on a skateboard since the first time I saw it. So I'm gonna do a part 2. I'm gonna get them on the coping. I'm gonna get inverts. I'm gonna do it. So subscribe if you're not ready for that second version of this video. It'd be cool to get your advice as well. Like, if you can hand plant, if you can invert, let me know down below. And even if you can't, like, and you might see what I'm doing wrong and what could like help me, please let me know down below, because I definitely needed some help. But this was a really good session because I needed like a solo session with nobody around to like really just kind of get in that cycle of just like going and going and going. My goal with this little spine is just to grab the coping, because it's not as intimidating, it's not really big. Also, I can just fly onto the other side. I'm not worried about like falling onto the deck or face planting, any of those things that I'm making up in my head that definitely will not happen. I'm able to even avoid kind of breaking through that barrier by trying it on the spine. I can kind of just bail and kick my board out, or I can go straight over and land it. It's kind of a good way to test out. However, all those bells, look at that nose, look at that chip, look at that chip. I definitely need some dip. So yeah, I've definitely got more confident just doing that, just bailing and grabbing the coping and kicking my board out. On some of them, I was even trying to churn a little bit. I wasn't going straight over, I was trying to churn just to get used to that like motion of grabbing the coping and potentially churning. So from here, I'm just building up that confidence to try to grab that pull coping and really just throw out an invert. I'm not even looking to land the first one, just to get the confidence to really go for it. Oh my. Something that everybody tells me is like once you go for the coping, it's a lot easier and it's not as complicated. Like I'm doing a lot more by doing it under the coping, but it's all mental for me right now. I'm really struggling. However, I have a confidence booster with me today. Da, 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 da. Big Al. Big Al. He knows how to do inverts pretty good, so I'm gonna watch him today. He's gonna give me some feedback and hopefully give me the confidence to go for the coping. At least try to bail, because I don't even want to land it right away. I just want to at least go for one.
He's got it. It's I mean, I think he's honestly doing the harder part of it. When you do it under the coping, there's a lot more going on. It's a lot more difficult to like get your body back over your board, so to say, because you don't have that leverage of the coping and of the vert to kick you back in, or even to kick you up, so to say. But
what was the first time that you went for the coping? Like, what was the deterring thing? Like, how did you get yourself to actually go and grab the coping though?
This is crazy. This is like a big story actually. It was the indoor bowl of this local skate park I was always at in Colorado, and for years I did it under the coping. And finally there was a older guy sesh. I looked up to the older guys obviously when I was younger, wanted to be better. They're like, Al, just put your hand on there, just go for it. And kind of them telling me to do it and me wanting it for so long, I kind of just,
So sometimes peer pressure is a good thing.
It is, it really is. And like,
just to throw that out there.
And this goes with skating with other people versus skating alone,
Yeah.
Having someone else is gonna
I've been trying this alone, so yeah, let's get into some inverts.
Let's do some damn inverts here.
See, the fact that he just goes for the coping like that, God, that scares me. All right.
So like about going for the coping, it's like a simultaneous thing. As you take off and you begin to grab the board, your hand comes down. It's at the same time you do the invert.
You have to sync it all up.
Sync it all up.
All right.
Once your hand's there, you spot your landing, just take it in. Just make sure you don't overturn. You don't want to slam back,
All right.
The more upside down I am, I feel like
It'll be easier to like hold,
leverage to come in, not worry about hanging up,
right?
Kind of guide where you want to go.
I'm at this point where like I can go onto the deck, kind of like grab the coping, grab my board, go onto the deck, and I can do it under coping, but I'm not at the point where I'm like fully committed to just like grabbing the coping and like really getting my head essentially like inside of the transition. But yeah, I feel like in the next couple tries, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna have that moment of like, all right, fucking send it.
Yeah, he's like on the edge of like a new tax group basically. Like he's made enough money that he's about to be bumped up into the next category, and that next category is grabbing the coping.
Thank God for Al. right, so as a full-grown man that's been wanting to learn this trick for a long time, I'm gonna accept that like I'm not gonna land it today, but grabbing the coping was something that I was so mentally forced and challenged with for months. But I got my guy Al over here on today's session, and it hyped me up. He was trying to backlip on the other side of the skate park, but the point being is like he was struggling. I was like, yes, I need to go through that struggle too. Like, let's go together. And just like I inched my way up, and then there was one where I was like, all right, right here, just like don't disappoint yourself. That's what really like got me to do it. It was like I didn't, no offense, care to disappoint you. I was more just like, don't disappoint yourself, just go for it. And I finally went for it, and I'm so happy because my board is so chipped right now that like I told myself I wasn't able to change my deck until I grabbed the coping on an invert. And now I could finally change it, thank God. So there'll be an episode 2 of me landing an invert. I'm just gonna end this video here because I've been working on it for so long. I love y'all, appreciate y'all. Al, thank you.
Love you, that was amazing.
Whew. Teamwork makes the dream work. Skating not alone is really awesome sometimes. God, I'm so happy.
Pushing boundaries, dude.
I wouldn't have done that this weekend. Like that kind of makes my whole year. The fact that I just went for it. Now landing is just gonna be the icing on the cake. Ah, I'm so hyped.